Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Wilds. Today we're talking all about Gog and the detailed advice that I want to give you to actually beat this thing effectively. First up, the quest information. You have two options. You have the assignment and you have the event quest. The assignment has 5 carts possible, while the event quest has only 3. And otherwise there's no real difference. It's like a 50-minute timer either way. So basically, you can't do the assignment unless someone else posts it. So if you're in a lobby where people are posting that, it's a good idea to go for that, help them. You get the extra carts. I do recommend running support hunters if you're going to solo this, so that you have the people on the ledge helping you, and then you actually have 3 people helping you down in the actual fight during phase 1 and 2. To make sure this is happening, get max members to 4 and go only support hunters. Automatic SOS flare, so you don't have to even worry about that at the beginning of the hunt. And it's up to you who you want to run. I like Mina, Kai, and Nightmist, the new one. Nightmist has a light bowgun. Mina had the best DPS out of all the support hunters back in Omega time. And Kai provides you with buffs, so I think it's a fantastic setup. As I make this guide, the data mine for Gog's weaknesses doesn't exist. But we're told one thing very clearly. When he's covered in oil, you need to use fire to liquefy it. Then when you're hitting his flesh, you want to be using dragon to suppress him, but also deal seemingly the most damage you can. So you bring 2 weapons, starting with fire, swap to dragon as soon as you can. In regards to the targets for the hit zones, you want to hit the head and wing arms as the main targets overall. Of course, head is best because you also get to build up things like KO, but wing arms is completely fine, and in fact a great thing to do whenever possible because it causes the knockdowns. I also want to note during phase 3, those heated or glowing zones are particularly vulnerable. There's a bright one on the chest, and his whole body does that during the DPS check. In phase 3, the tail is a valid target. It's not as good of a hit zone, but of course you want to cut the tail so you can get more parts for the hunt, so that's very much important. Another thing to mention is the special blue markings. Kind of like tempered wounds in a way, you target them, and when you break them, you get extra rewards. So, more Gog mutated parts. And on top of that, you can get more anti-wyvern ammo, which is very important. So they're well worth targeting when possible. There's one under his neck, they're on both wing arms, there's one on the tail, so hit him when you can. Now Gog uses fire and naturally triggers fire blight throughout the fight a lot. You can deal with it, or you could run a little bit of extra fire resistance in your equipment to remove it completely or reduce it. 20 fire res would do the job, but still, Divine Blessing is a reliable crutch. On the topic of guard up, yeah, if you've got a shield and you're generally blocking, it's really nice. But you do not need any guard up if you have a weapon that can block at all for phase 3. This is because when you pass the DPS check, you're able to create your own safe pocket without Fabius. Josh is doing it here with his greatsword without any guard up used because he met the DPS check. Here's a quick look at my Gog Hunting Loadout. Lurpods didn't seem to do anything in phase 3, so I will be phasing those out. And you're not really getting a chance to use the barrel bombs, so maybe don't bring them. But otherwise, I recommend bringing all the buff food. So hard shell powder, demon powder, your mega armor skin, your adamant seeds, might pill if you want to juice yourself up for 30 seconds, mega demon drug and might seed. Then on top of that, depending on what weapon you're using, dash juice could be really useful for you. To keep your friends alive, bring Dust of Life and Life powder, obviously really helpful. And cool drinks so that you don't have to deal with the heat mechanic at all. Along with that, ancient potion, max potion for panic buttons, and of course your standard healing. Now depending on the weapon, barrel bombs are obviously required. You might be a longsword or a charge blade, where you put this down and counter it in some way and give yourself an important buff. If that's relevant for the weapon you're using, then of course you run them. The only thing I'd like to mention as well is in regards to farming it, you can consider the carver meal from the Azus cuisine. This provides you with extra carves when you're carving both the tail and the body, which is getting me a lot more materials as I farm this out. So I strongly recommend that or some other option for just increasing the rewards you get, since we're going to want a lot of these parts. Alright, let's run down the phases of the fight and the strategy used to win. The fight begins with Gog standing right there with a slow roll. This is a very easy counter to get your easy weapon buffs, but in this moment you want to focus a wing arm that simply sat there and deal as much damage to the same wing arm as you can from then on. By doing enough damage to the wing arm, you'll cause a knockdown, and you want that as early as possible. During knockdowns, continue to hit the wing arm that's right next to you, or go for the head. It depends on the context. The most reliable and easy way to attack the wing arm is having aggro and taking the double wing arm slam. This is such an easy perfect guard, counter, perfect evade or whatever, and then you're left right next to the now wing arm that you want to target to get the next knockdown. If given the opportunity, you also want to use the one boulder that's in this main area. Technically there's 2, but the second one that's near the ledge, you want to save for phase 2. So you drop this boulder whenever possible by intentionally dragging Gog over there. Maybe after the first knockdown's complete, that's when you position yourself. There are some interesting things you can do here too. You can use fire element or fire-based pods to pop the multiple lava vents that are in this arena. This deals great damage, but also importantly multiple instances of fire damage. That will help you deal with the oil skin. The fire slinger option here is the torch pods, and there's quite a few. Simply pop these whenever he's on them or near them. Don't worry too much about making it happen. You'll also get 1 to 2 anti-wyvern guns during this early phase, as they get exposed and you rip them off Gog. You want to save these for the final phase, but I think using 1 or 2 here is completely fine. Just make sure that you aim and charge this up so you get the full damage, rather than just firing it at its weakest, quickest version. Hit a proper hit zone with it though, head or wings. But anyway, the gameplay loop in phase 1 is quite straightforward, and the moveset is very tame. The ever reliable double wing slam is super easy to punish. The one arm slam into the next arm slam can be a bit annoying if it causes you to stagger, but that also leaves him very exposed. He has the slow spinning oil spit, or the targeted channel one. These are great DPS windows, especially for the head. Fabius often calls out that he's taking aggro, which gives you a free DPS window. Then you got phase 2, which begins when you've dealt enough damage. Gog moves away from you and starts to cover the arena in fire, forcing you to climb up to a nearby ledge. This is where you'll try to knock him down, break the back, and unleash the weapon that's lodged in him. So, you focus fire into one specific wing arm the whole time, which will then let you actually get knockdowns. This will cause the back to fall to its side and be vulnerable. It's also a special weak zone highlighted in red, so you can focus strike it for free. But I do think it's worth holding on, do some nice DPS combos to the back, and then nearer to when he's going to get up, that's when you go for the focus strike to extend the DPS into the back. 2 drop downs will be enough to break the back and dislodge the weapon. In this moment, you can easily drop the boulder that hangs over him during phase 2 for another burst of damage and another DPS window. And there's the lever at the center of this platform, which shoves a ram straight out in front of it. You need to make sure that Gog is directly in front of it, or at least a wing arm is directly in front of it, so it lands, giving you another DPS window. There's also blast coal that you can run and grab, 3 to the side. Throw these at Gog like a barrel bomb. They do about 500 damage of fire, which is a great way to liquefy a wing arm, which is why I swapped to my dragon weapon at this point. But overall, you focus one wing arm, cause a knockdown, break the back initially, then drop the boulder, use the lever, throw the blast coals, get the second knockdown, break the back, and that's when the weapon falls off. It's a special cannon that drops on the left or right side. You run to the 3 marked and glowing locations to grab a strand and bring it to the cannon. When attached, it starts to charge it up. While holding these, you can sprint to sort of move slowly, and do a slow roll while doing it to try to evade attacks. You are vulnerable. In my experience, the support hunters always do 1, so I end up doing 2 every time. Anyway, when all 3 are connected, the cannon begins to power up, and you should not immediately fire it. You can turn it right away and even plan to shoot, but my very first attempt, I fired the cannon without thinking at 30% power, which dealt just shy 30k damage. When fully charged, you get over 65k, so you want to wait for that. And for the love of God, do not fire this when he's knocked down. It can and will fly right over him. He needs to be upright. Just be wary, you can indeed fall off the ledge here, past Gog down into the lava, which can be awkward for some attacks, like specifically Helmbreaker with longsword, so just be careful. Phase 3 begins after enough damage during phase 2. Gog will start to fly and head up. This is a great moment to quickly travel to the makeshift camp and restock, and swap to your dragon weapon if you have not already. In phase 3, you need to be using a dragon element weapon. It is required. So head on up there, and initially Gog will be flying, making things very difficult. You'll find that there are 2 boulder drops on either side of this final arena, which will knock him out the air and give you great DPS windows. You want to do this as soon as possible. I have tested this with lure pods, and it doesn't seem to do anything. And I will say that using support hunters sucks for this part, because they hold aggro and he just won't come over. So if you get lucky and can drop it on him early, great. But in my experience, you try to bait him where you can, but don't lose too much DPS standing there and looking at him. However, what can help is the fact that you'll immediately be doing the anti-wyvern guns into him. So you get up there and there's at least 2 to grab, maybe 3, just on the ground. Then you position yourself under a boulder and shoot at him, hopefully gaining his attention so he comes over and you can drop that boulder. You want to make sure that you fire and charge these up fully and aim at the weak points, which is the wings or the head. But remember, when the chest is glowing, it's a particularly good hit zone, so you want to aim for that. I've been able to hit over 600 per shot when aiming for that. Ultimately, you'll need to use the compact anti-wyvern guns to bring him out of the air, but I also recommend spamming aerial attacks from the back of Sacred during this moment if you don't have any of those wyvern guns. To help with that, try to focus the blue glowing parts, the symbols, not only to get more mutated armament materials, but again, more of these guns to use to keep hitting him while he's in the air. You'll find these under his neck, on his wing arms, on the tail. You just hit them when you can. Admittedly, phase 3 is very hectic, and any free DPS time is vital. That's why I recommend you trigger a mount in this phase, only this phase. I will say that his tail is a reasonably safe target during this phase, and finally cuttable too. You definitely want to make sure you cut it in this phase, so it will be an important target even if it's not the ideal hit zone. Be aware that after any big attack in this phase, he does have a really long recovery time. That's generally when you want to focus a wing arm so you can get a knockdown. He'll also do longer wing arm slam combos now. He'll do the one arm, then the other, and then slam in a huge slam. This drags him forward, meaning right under him will cause a hit. His hitbox checks you. So it's not bad to be under there, you just have to be ready for that. You want to perfect guard it, counter it, perfect evade, and then you're near a wing arm in a good spot. But I stick to his tail until I see a reliable slow attack or combo, and then go for a wing arm whenever possible. But now we need to cover the repeating DPS check, which is pretty brutal if you don't manage it. The super is coming from the moment you begin phase 3, and it rebuilds again after each use. Your goal is to deal enough dragon element to suppress the super so you can survive. This means SAD is a fantastic form of element from Chargeblade, especially when he's like glowing. But if it's not going well, at his last moments, he will stay still and begin to glow before doing the full super. This gives you a fantastic hit zone everywhere because he's glowing everywhere, and so you'll destroy him with Dragon Element. Again, a fully juiced SAD from Chargeblade here is destructive, so any big element-based burst, this is necessary in this moment. Now you can keep track of how you're doing based on Nadia's callouts. She'll say one of 3 things, like we're not keeping its power in check, meaning you're behind on the DPS check. We seem to be containing its power, which seems like you're on track, you're doing well enough if you keep it up. And then when she says we've got its power in check, you've actually now passed the DPS check and you don't have to worry. You'll know at this point that Fabius will protect you, or you can guard yourself. I think it's better to follow Fabius generally because you get behind him and then have time to heal up, sharpen, and rebuff before Gog gets up, which is a good DPS window by the way. But you can use your own shield or guard of any kind if you've passed the check, creating your own safe pocket, which as you can see with no guard up, Josh is doing with a greatsword. There is a panic button in the fact that there's 2 ledges at the back of the arena that you can climb up and avoid the first big super if you don't meet the first check. But after that, they kind of get destroyed, so you gotta get the DPS check after that. But yeah, that is my guide to Gog. This is how I'm killing him currently. If you guys have any extra advice or information, let us know in the comments, maybe it'll help someone. But I wish you the best of luck with farming this big monster. In my opinion, not quite as hard as Omega, but really fun, a really good fight. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.